Hello guys and welcome to episode 26 of Minecraft Plum Labs. And I've just come back to my base and I think I've discovered exactly why ore keeps getting put into this system. And it's a pretty simple reason, and it's because of the fact that I'm a derp. And that was connecting there, so that was allowing input. For example there, it was allowing it to go straight in here. How much of a bum is that? So for example, all the cobblestone stuff has just been going straight into here like an, and I've letting it happen like an absolute moron. When this stuff should have, very, quickly been voided. So this thing is now getting backed up. Why are you... Whoa. So that was... Why are you massively backed up? For some reason, ore and stuff is getting massively backed up here, in here. And I'm not quite sure why. Why is ore getting backed up in you? Since you should only be... You have a filter, I believe, extracting you. So why are you being a pain? Honestly, why that's being a pain, I've not got a clue why. But I think... with that issue solved, we should now happily be able to rest knowing that our ore and stuff is actually going to get processed properly now, rather than it just doing exactly what it was doing before and just basically being plonked back into this system. So if I check up on ore, yes, we've got some silver ore in here, some lead ore popping up. The other ores I'm not too bothered about, but I think these ores I definitely want to get, processed and pulverized and stuff. But this episode, we're not necessarily going to be doing all that. Yeah, so you've got rotten flesh and solidified. Okay, I believe you're from the mob farm actually, so I'm not, too worried about that. One thing I've noticed though is I haven't actually bothered to get myself any armour. That's definitely going to have to be something that's going to be coming up in the next few... Yeah, well, not necessarily the next few episodes. And also flight. That's another issue we're probably need to do, is get an angel ring, which problem is it requires a cursed lasso, requires a ring of the flying squid, which is some diamonds, some ink sacks. So and it also requires this, which is like some of these crystals. And so it's a pretty expensive recipe, I believe, to get the angel wings. So I think you need potentially actually I don't believe this is necessarily the worst recipe to make, and this would allow us to fly. So I'm kind of thinking, is this worth getting? I don't believe we have any diamonds actually to make this. We only have one diamond, so actually I don't think that's going to be something we are going to be able to make. Even so, if I let this quarry run now, I just thought I'd just quickly test this just before we get into the episode. I just want to make sure that this quarry is actually working properly now. So if I do that to the power, you are going to quite happily gain quite a bit of power. So that reactor is now giving this guy a lot of power. So you are happily extracting the cobblestone, and the cobblestone is not going into here, I believe? Yes. So that's all now working perfectly fine. Capacitor bank is full. Reactor still has... In fact, it's got no battery power, left. But for the most part, this reactor is not even running, guys. So I'm pretty happy to let this guy run. We've got some more yellorium that's appeared. So it's kind of a self-sustaining system. We mine up some yellorium, and by the time the power that this guy produces is way more than enough before we get another piece of yellorium. So it's pretty efficient, in my opinion, anyways. Okay, guys, we've just slept through the night, and like I said, what I'm thinking is we delve into a little bit of immersive engineering. So first things first, with immersive engineering, do we have any... I believe there's there's something called an engineer's manual. So we have an engineer's manual, and this is basically your starting handbook to everything within immersive engineering. So for example, power, generation of wires, construction, overviewing resources, tools, simple machines, heavy machinery. Heavy machinery is probably going to be what we're going to need to do. So first things first, actually, what I'm kind of interested in is, do we have enough stuff to make a couple of these dimensional transceivers? So we've got fused glass ender resonators, oxide capacitors, ender crystals. Yeah, we don't have enough stuff to make those. Do we have any? Are they called tesseracts? I'm just trying to think, is there any way we can wirelessly transmit power? I don't believe there's actually going to be a way we're going to be able to transmit power wirelessly, at least for a while anyway. We could potentially use these insulated wires, but we're not going to be able to... You'll see what I mean, guys. So I think what I'm going to do is get myself some kind of machinery going. So if I look up machinery in my engineer's manual even, so I think what we're probably going to need first is something called a crusher. Now this guy is a pretty one of your most fundamental multi-blocks really when dealing with immersive engineering. And what he basically does is he basically crushes your ore, and it's basically an effective way to increase the yield. And if I'm honest, it's much cooler than using a pulverizer, and that is definitely for sure. So what I'm going to do is make myself the crusher. So what do we need to make the crusher? I believe you can... So we need 10 steel scaffolding, a redstone engineering block, light engineering blocks, and some hoppers. So the hoppers I'm probably going to make sure I get first. So let's get myself a chest. So I believe it was it 7 hoppers that it needed? Oh no, 9 hoppers. Well, plenty of wood, so I'm not, you know, worried about chests and stuff anymore. I think a good few episodes ago I definitely would be, but you know, not really too worried anymore. Oh wow, are we really out of iron? Wow, we appear to be out of iron, guys. So if I'm honest, we may have to hold off on getting this guy up and running, actually. Potentially, do we have any ore or anything? We've got some aluminium ore, but I don't believe we have any iron ore, which is kind of irritating. I don't believe... Are you still... I believe this is probably just a backlog of the ore we had in the system ready. So I'm going to go and get this ore, actually, and set this to process. You know, I'm just going to set this to process in the basic way for now. Are you extracting, and are you going to accept? Why are you not... Oh, you're backed up. Derp. So this guy's probably... Are you backed up as well? You aren't extracting for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. How did cobblestone end up in there? Are you now going to extract? Rest of them are disabled. You should just be extracting and then inserting into here, right? Oh, I think I know what the problem is. What I wanted realistically is this guy to have its own... Yeah, I believe... Yeah, I know exactly what's happened here. So this is me... When I thought I fixed the system, I believe what I really wanted to do was that. There we go. To prevent the system from getting backlogged. So we are going to have a little bit more iron now. So this guy, yep, he's now going to pull it straight through. And he can now extract and put it all into there. So we have a little bit more iron now, which is kind of nice. And I'm also going to flip on the quarry, actually, just to, you know, get us some more resources in the backlog. So first things first, like I said, we need to get those hoppers up and running. So we have 3 hoppers, so we need another 6. So now I've got the 9 hoppers we need to make the crusher. So these multi-blocks are pretty expensive. We're going to need some steel fence, we're going to need some light engineering blocks, the redstone engineering block. So let's look at these engineering blocks. So redstone engineering block is that, pretty simply. That's a pretty simple recipe, actually. The light engineering block requires some iron mechanical components, which are iron plates. And how do you make iron plates? So we need an engineer's hammer, which isn't too expensive. And light engineering block, so we're going to need quite a bit of you. These iron plates. So why have you... I don't know why I decided to put that there. So if I make, say, 16 of these guys, is that going to be enough? Okay, what else do we need to make? Okay, so we've made 2 of these guys. Now can we make some light engineering blocks? So these light engineering blocks, they are pretty expensive. The heavy ones aren't much better. These just require steel by the looks of things. So if I make another one of you, and another one of you, do we not have any... Oh, we need to make another one of these guys, don't we? So that's 4 light engineering blocks. And how many light engineering blocks did it say we actually needed to make? So we've got the redstone engineering block, and for what I might do actually is get myself the hoppers, since by the looks of things in the engineer's manual it tells you exactly what you've got. So we need the steel fence, the light engineering blocks, we need another, how many? So we've got 4 light engineering blocks, we're going to need a few more engineering blocks by the looks of things. Which also is going to require a little bit more iron. Which are we? Yeah. We've by the looks of things completely used up all of our surplus of iron. So I think what I might do is wait for my quarry to run. Might do a bit of mining off camera as well, just to get myself some more resources, and I'll be right back. Okay, yes. Now I think what I might do is make myself this thing called a auxiliary reception coil, which basically increases your also the power usage, but you get more processing speed. And if I'm honest, I think that is exactly what we need for this pulverizer and this furnace over here. So I believe they have a space for an augment. There we go. So this guy's going to take a bit more power, but he's going to process stuff a lot quicker than what he's been doing. So if I stick you in there, I can now do the same to the pulverizer. There we go. So he's going to... His RF has gone up to... I don't know what his RF's going to go... So he's going to be using 60 RF a tick, basically. But if I'm honest, he's going to be processing ore a hell of a lot quicker than what he has been doing, which, if I'm honest, is exactly what I want. Because the problem is, at the minute, isn't the fact that we're not getting a lot of ore from the quarry, it's the fact that we're not processing ore quick enough, so it's just all getting backlogged here, basically. So if I turn the quarry on, for example, look at all the ore we're getting, but it's just basically getting backlogged. Now, I have decided, well, not decided, I've sort of more found out that this reactor, even when it's at full trot, isn't quite enough to, you know, keep up with the power demands of this guy, which is a little bit of a pain. I know, it's not, you know, the best. But if I'm honest, he's not too far behind. He's only losing about, was it 700 and something RF a tick, which isn't, you know, it's not the absolute end of the world, really. So if I'm honest, I can live with that. And see, have you generated any more iron ore? I think iron is definitely going to be the name of the game. Have you got any iron in here? Well, I suppose if he's probably got iron, it's probably gone straight into here anyway. Copper's going into here, actually. Do we have any iron in here? No, I believe the iron's probably already been processed, actually, which isn't... It's pretty good, actually. So how much iron do we now have? Okay, iron, well, 96 iron. Was not expecting that, not gonna lie. So what we're going to need is some more light engineering blocks, which also we found out are these guys. Did I put my hammer in here? Like a complete moron. I believe I may have put my hammer in here. Yes, I have. So light engineering blocks, we're going to need quite a few more of these guys. Why are you not... Oh, we don't have any of the iron plates, do we? So iron plates obviously are just a 1-to-1 ratio. So if I collect... I believe it's 24 we're going to need. I don't know why these guys aren't stacking in here for some reason. There we go. So that's those produced. Now can we make... Yeah, I don't get what it is with these things that just aren't stacking in the crafting table. Oh, I know why. It's because we've got them in our inventory. That probably explains it. So we've now just got an achievement called Hammer. I'm not quite sure what we did to earn it, but we did. So we now need the steel scaffolding, the steel fence, and do we need any heavy engineering blocks? Oh, we don't need any heavy engineering blocks. I completely misread that. So it's just the steel scaffolding and the steel fence. Now, how do we make this steel from immersive engineering? Immersive engineering steel. That's thermal foundation steel. What sort of steel? So if I go to overview and resources, metal plates, coke oven. I should probably look at how you make steel, really. So I think what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to have a look at steel and I'll be right back. Okay, yeah, so I've just been having a bit of a look at how you make the stuff we're going to need. And if I'm honest, I think pulverized coal is probably going to be the name of our game for what we're going to need to make, really. Because I believe what we're going to need is quite... Because we're going to need to also make quite a bit of steel. And if I'm honest, the easiest way to make steel, from what I can tell at the minute, because we don't have access to coal coke, which we also need a coke oven for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself exactly half a stack of this guy and stick him in. I believe it would be... I don't know if he's necessarily going to work in there. Shall we see if he works at the induction smelter to make any steel? So that... Okay, that appears to be working, actually. It's probably going to be a hell of a lot quicker than relying on the simple alloy smelter. I might try and see how slow it is in the alloy smelter, actually. Okay, both of them appear to work. Yeah, this guy is ridiculously slow compared to the induction smelter by the looks of things. What I might do is split the load, though, so I might put a little bit in here. Only a little bit, though. And I think most of it is going to be going into the induction smelter. So he's producing a little bit of sulfur as a byproduct, which I don't think it's not the end of the world. So yeah, this guy's going a hell of a lot quicker than what I was expecting, really, from the simple alloy smelter. So what I'm going to do is I'll make myself a bunch of steel, hopefully enough to make what we need to make, and I'll be right back. So if I'm honest, guys, I think we are now getting somewhere. So we're producing a fair amount of steel. I think I'm basically just relying on the induction smelter now. I think this guy's incredibly slow. So what I believe we need to make is a steel fence. And how much of each thing do we need to make for this guy? The steel fence we need 8. And I believe steel fence is crafted like so. So we need 8. And that's the steel fence. So I'll make another rod. And do we have any more steel that's been produced in here? Yes, we do. So like I said, it's just a matter of basically manually transferring over all of the stuff into here. So we're going to need some more coal by the looks of things. Whoa, this is not cheap on the amount of coal you end up eating through, actually. So let's stick you in here. I just want to make sure there's a bit of a backlog, so we're, producing a fair amount of it. So this should be enough steel fence for us. There we go. And the next thing we're going to need is the steel scaffolding. So I believe when you do the recipe, you get 6 per recipe, which isn't the end of the world. And we need 10 of it, so we need to make 2 lots of it, really. So can I transfer the rest of this coal into here? I don't believe we're going to need any more coal, actually. So if I do that, we now have 6, which I believe is probably going to be enough. Like I said, we're not going to necessarily need all of this steel, but I just want to make sure we have a bit of a surplus of it, kind of thing. So if I now do this, I should be able to make some steel scaffolding. Yes, I can. And do we now have 2 pieces of steel in there? No, we don't. So is this our last piece of coal? Yes, it is. So that piece of coal I'm going to stick in there. And I believe if I take the sulfur out, you can now happily process your ores again. There we go. So the furnace, there we go, it's happily, going through its stuff. So it's a pretty quick operation, really, this. But if I'm honest, let's say this doesn't really, seem that cool to me. And that's realistically why I want to get this crusher up and running. So I think, if I'm honest, it's going to dial our setup to 11 in terms of ore processing and just make it look kind of cool, I think. That's just my opinion, anyways. So I believe now we should have enough. We should have everything to make it. There we go. So that's all the ticks, which is exactly what we want. So let's go up here now. It is getting on to night time, so I'm going to sleep through the night. Okay, guys, we've just slept through the night, so I'm going to get to my factory. And if I'm honest, I'm just trying to think where I want to have my ore processing line. I think I might have it at the back. Let's see. So to make this, let's sort of go through all the layers. So if I pause this guy and set it to go to the bottom layer, so we're going to need 3 engineering blocks, 3 scaffolding, 2 engineering blocks, and then the rest scaffolding by the looks of things. So if I say set this guy up, I kind of want him to be about here, maybe. So if I do that, so it's scaffolding like that, and then the next level is so it's engineering blocks, engineering block, engineering block, and the redstone block at the end. So I'm probably going to have to keep referring back to this. So if I look up here, so it's the fence that surrounds the central engineering block. So the central engineering block goes there. The fence then surrounds it by the looks of things. We then have engineering block and the redstone block. And we then have 3 engineering blocks here. Now, the hoppers, I believe, just go directly on here. So if I set up the hoppers like so. Now, this guy isn't going to instantly turn into a multi-block. I believe we basically have to hit him. I believe you have to sort of hit him in the right spot to get him to turn into a multi-block. Yep, there we go. So I found the right spot eventually after just spamming him permanently. And here we go, guys. We have the immersive engineering crusher. Now, like I said, this guy is a pretty, weird interface, setup. You're probably wondering how the hell do we get this guy going. And if I'm honest, I'm going to show you guys how to get this guy going. And if I'm honest, it's not the end of the world to get this guy going, actually. First of all, we are going to need some kind of wire. So the wires you can use electrum wire, aluminium wire, steel wire. Steel wire is probably one of the better ones, I believe. In fact, I might, while I'm here, get myself some wire cutters actually if we're going to start doing wiring. And then you can get stuff like the MV and the LV and stuff. We're probably just going to stick to the MV, really. I think that's probably going to be the best way to do things. What do you require? You require terracotta, right? Which is just smelting clay. Not quite the end of the world. I didn't expect I'd be, doing... I don't think I've been needing terracotta for this kind of thing. So, let me smelt you. And I'm probably going to make this stuff in the basement, actually. Because all I really need is some sort of access to power. And I believe these guys are probably going to work. I've got a bit of a plan. It's going to be a little bit messy to begin with. But I believe we can possibly get this guy going. So if I look up MVY, so we're going to need some relays. We're probably going to need some... we're going to need some of these insulated MV wire coils. So you get 4 of them, so you're going to need some tough fabric, which is just industrial hemp fibres. I believe these are probably going to be from canola, actually. How do you get industrial hemp fibres? I believe it's probably for industrial hemp actually, which I'm probably going to have to start growing. So if I'm honest, what I might do, which I hope this is going to work, is what I might do is with this potato farmer, so this is the plant gatherer, I believe the sower is... Are you the sower here? Yep, so you're the sower. So what I might do is get rid of these guys, and I believe, yeah, and it needs to unlock the inventory in this guy. And can I make you industrial hemp and then lock the inventory again? And then have you start sowing industrial hemp? I really hope this is going to work. For some reason he wants to keep sowing potatoes, and I'm not quite sure why. Why do you want to sow potatoes? I've just told you to do industrial hemp. Please do potatoes. So I'm going to clear out the area which I think I've assigned for industrial hemp, and hopefully he's going to start planting industrial hemp. Why are you doing potatoes? I don't want potatoes, I want industrial hemp. Oh, here we go. So he's now finally starting to do industrial hemp. I believe he's possibly had a bit of an internal backlog or something. Why are you not working? I've definitely set you to work with industrial hemp in the back right corner, unless... Hang on, maybe I've got the corners wrong. I think what I might do is just take out all of these potatoes and just hope that just see where the industrial hemp starts getting set. So if I do this completely, this should allow the plant sower to, you know, reset itself, kind of thing. So I believe it's this corner that's going to start being industrial hemp. So I probably need to also set... I don't believe I've got any specific item routing system, you know, for anything specific. So if I have this bit be industrial hemp, this should start getting us some hemp, which I believe is, like I said, that's the way you get industrial hemp, just from basically, you know, harvesting the industrial hemp guys. So if I get these seeds, can I stick you around here somewhere and have you work? So like I said, hopefully this shouldn't be too big of an issue, but I believe now we're starting to get into most of engineering. Industrial hemp is probably going to be something we are definitely going to need to get into. But if I'm honest, I think we are probably going to wrap the episode up here. As much as we don't have a functional, you know, sort of system yet, I believe we are basically on the way to having a functional kind of system going. So, well, it's a lot of potatoes we have in there. See, what I might do is actually convert this farm a little bit more. I might try and bias it a little bit more towards... That's not the right block. Is this the... Okay, this is the right block. So what I might do is unlock this guy's inventory. Wow, you appear to have emptied your inventory out, which is not what I wanted to happen, actually. Oh, bit of a lag spike there. I'm not quite sure what happened. Are you going to let me pick up any of these industrial hemp seeds back up? You are not going to let me pick them back up, which is quite irritating. Whoops. Ah, damn it. Okay, I think the only way we're going to be able to get this industrial hemp, I think as much as I want to wrap up the episode, I kind of want to get this industrial hemp farming going. I believe we have plenty of potatoes now, so, you know, I'm not overly worried about getting a surplus of potatoes. Let's see, so if I set you guys up to grow, and then I take you down. Yep, that's getting us the industrial hemp fibers we need. So if I say get some potatoes, and if I say make the top row, actually no, I think that, I believe, is the back. So I believe it's sort of in this formation. So I'm going to go for potatoes here, and so let's go for potatoes. And let's go for the industrial hemp. Lock the inventory, and I believe that's going to be an optimal farming setup for us, since I believe industrial hemp's probably going to be something we're going to need more of, you know, sort of going forward, really. And I think potatoes are going to be something that we have a massive surplus of. We're not going to need, you know, more and more potatoes than what we have, at least for now. I suppose unless we get a more specific use for potatoes, I don't think we're really going to need them. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video anyways. Goodbye from Post and Plum.
Built an empire of stars.